Okay, this is part two, the harder part, I'd say, because it's a lot. I think with this whole thing that I'm doing, it's very easy to toot your horn. Yeah, these are my strengths, but no one likes to talk about their weaknesses or anything like that. Mm, so, gets very, very, you know, just something you gotta look at. Like, why do you want to look at your weaknesses? Let's start with that. I think number one, if you don't really, if you don't define your weaknesses as best as you can, I think you're more vulnerable to them. I think if you just, it's almost like, in AA, I guess they teach you step one is identifying you have a problem. Now, I'm not saying your weaknesses, or I'm not saying my weaknesses or your weaknesses are innate problems. Um, I'm just saying that identifying something is going to help you form a plan to overcome it or handle it better as best as possible. I think there are just things you don't overcome, but you just handle. I guess like in AA, you're never really cured of alcoholism, but you're just taught to handle life without drinking. Not to say that you're ever cured from being an alcoholic, whether you agree with that or not, whatever. But mm, your weaknesses, you need to define them, I think. Um, and obviously, this list can change, and it's to say, oh, I only have five weaknesses. That's like, no, everyone has so many weaknesses, but um, to define them as broad as best as possible, I think. And in this case, I've done something more broad. Um, my fifth greatest weakness is generally confused about what I want and how to get it. And so I will live life every few months. I'm like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do this. And I've been that way since I'm like 10. And I've met people in their 70s. I had one professor in college, Dr. Vasquez, and Dr. Vasquez, how do I know what I'm going to be, or what should I be when I grow up, or what should I do, or what kind of family should I have? And he's like, I am 72 years old, and I am still asking myself that question. So I don't know if this is a personal weakness or just something humanity in general struggles with. Whether you want to qualify it as a weakness or not, it has caused me to delay decisions and go make bad ones. Number four, hard time saying no to things I know I should say no to. This could involve in certain, you go to a party, someone offers you alcohol or a very hard drink, freaking brandy and cola or something, and you have no idea what it is. It's not just like a regular beer or something, and you decide to drink it, and then you go home and you're screwed up, and you're like, what the heck was that? That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Or you're on a budget and you don't want to go out to eat, and all your friends are like, I'm tired, I don't want to cook tonight, and aren't you tired too, Jonathan, and we shouldn't cook tonight, and you're trying to do better with a diet, even though I look skinny, like I'm trying to, bulk up here, and that requires certain diet commitments. Skinny people have diet commitments that they should be following too. And it's like, sure, yeah, whatever you want. Or um, taking charge of a decision when it comes to hanging out with people. I'm always the one to like just pass it and just go with the flow. But deep in my heart, I know what I want. I'm pretty sure. It's when it's the simple things. I know what I want to eat. I know that I don't want to spend over this amount of money on food. I know that this is my budget. This is what I want to spend. I don't want to do that. And often I have an easier time saying no to things that are visibly expensive, but a harder time to say no to things that I don't see a financial penalty on. Someone offers me something free and it could be unhealthy. I'm like, well, it's free. I'll try it. Anything from a bad meal to a very crappy beverage that I can go into that story in a video. The story about how I discovered you get really messed up on whiskey and cola was at the World Cup 2018 first game, there was Russians and we were at a party and they were just going hard. Drinking with Russians, if you plan to consume alcohol and you're not a regular like they are, is a bad idea. Very bad idea. Which is why I have my third weakness, addictive personality. Now, alcohol is not necessarily a problem. Like, I don't want to say toot my horn. Yes, I think we've all done stupid stuff. We've been at parties, we've been curious, and we've done that. But I think it's this thing I have a problem with. This is the biggest drug in my life. My phone, my computer, my TV, and yes, even like video game consoles, though I've cut down on that as much. And I tried to make the media I consume good media. But then again, if you spend too much time consuming good media, you end up forgetting most of the media that you consumed, which is why I constantly try to limit myself, but constantly fail. And the only good that I have managed to come out of it is limiting the bad media, i.e. K-pop, J-pop, anime, that stuff. I'm not saying that that's bad, because especially if you're studying a language like Japanese or something else, or you just enjoy the music, you should get enjoyment from those things. But playing a new song on repeat for 5 hours, well, not saying it's an extreme situation, but listening to the same song over and over again for 30 minutes to an hour just because you like the girls and they're super hot, that is a weakness. I can't see how sitting in front of a computer going gaga over something like that is beneficial. 1 time, 2 times, even 3 times, sure, whatever. It's a great video, okay? But to go further beyond and to sink down into that rabbit hole is never good. Number 2, and I think I wrote this, but I'm going to be more broad. I think I'm naturally jealous of other people, and this goes into a broad spectrum. You could be like naturally jealous of women. You could be naturally jealous of people who have more money than you. I could be naturally jealous of someone who's driving a bigger car than me, or naturally jealous of someone who's stronger than me. And I instantly use that jealousy to think that I'm a worse person than I actually am. I'll define more cases. So a jealousy of women could be like, wow, she's got a boyfriend. She's got a boyfriend. You ask a girl out and then she lies to you about being a lesbian and then dates some jerk. And then 6 months later comes crying because she like got herself, whatever, and that's her fault. Then you date you're asking out a girl and she just hides the fact that she's just not into you. And then you go and ask 5 or 6 other girls out. I mean, yes, I do. I will go ask them out. And I try to get their number. But they always say no. And it's like, man, I would love that power to say no. And this has been a big struggle. It's like women, like even Jordan Peterson will talk about most women have a mate. Not all men do. But more often than not, most women will end up having a child in their life. While there are still a vastly more majority of men that will not end up having children. Not to say that they won't find a mate, but that's beside the point. The other stuff is self-explanatory. As a guy, if I'm driving a Honda and I see someone driving a Ferrari and he's got a girl in the car, I'm like, damn, he's getting it, he's making it. Though he could have financed the Ferrari and he's in debt up to his ears. No, what do I see? I see, damn, he's got a girlfriend or someone he's with at that day, and I'll get naturally jealous, and that will incite anger and stress, which also relates to number 1. Sometimes I think not being jealous of other people demands better of yourself, I guess. Jealousy is almost always a bad emotion, but it could lead to some good things, especially if you want to get buff. I'll use 2 examples. If you want to get buff, and you see buff people, you're jealous of them, but you want to be like them, so you got to find a way to morph that jealousy into inspiration. Or if you're fat and you want to lose weight, you look at you look at skinny people, you get jealous, but then some people, they change that jealousy into inspiration, and then they continue. And I think my number one greatest weakness is I listen to other people too much for affirmation and goals. I'm like, oh, like, do you think I should do this, or what do you think about this, or I'm working on a lesson, or whatever, and I know it's a good lesson, I know it's a good product that I'm making, and I know in my heart that I'm doing the best I can, but I still go to someone else to ask what they think, and often I will let what they think influence the direction that I do in my mind. And so that's why it's my greatest weakness. I can go into detail, but almost always there's been situations in my life where I've asked someone else, and then what they've said has influenced me in a different direction entirely, and not always healthy. Sometimes healthy, sometimes not healthy. This is, again, is it a strength or a weakness? It could be both, but I think oftentimes I look for others for affirmation too much, and that can cause sort of a social complex where you just want to be accepted by others, and that can be very dangerous in very many ways. To go life and being your number one goal is to be accepted, because you'll just do things for other people just to make them happy, but in the end you never make yourself happy. So there you have it, my 5 greatest weaknesses. I think this list can change, and 6 months from now I can make another video and I can have a totally new list. I'm not saying I'm limited to 5 strengths and 5 weaknesses. You can have 20 strengths and 20 weaknesses, and the biggest and most minor level. But I think in life, if you were to sit down and choose your 5 big ones, those are very important. And I don't think these are necessarily specific to me. So if you are watching this video and you want to do the same thing, this is the end of part 2 and the end of the series. So I challenge you to do the same thing. Go and make the list, and then find a way to just make it better. So, there you have it. My 5 greatest weaknesses. And yes, this was a very hard video to make. And I'll see you in the next video.